Welcome back, everybody, to another exhilarating episode of Lockdown 23 in 1. That's right, today we're jumping into the courtroom once again. I got about 2 or 3 clips of individuals getting sentenced to some serious amount of time. But first, if you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, starting off with Casey Cunningham. She pled guilty to a felony DUI charge. Authorities say Cunningham had nearly 3 times the legal limit of alcohol at the time of the fatal wreck in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, drinking and driving never pays. But let's find out what the judge has in store for her today. I've seen a wide range of time when it comes to these kind of crimes. Some people get a slap on the wrist and some people get decades.
Your Honor, this incident occurred on February 10th of this year in the city of Rock Hill in the county of New York. The defendant was operating a 2008 GMC Yukon Denali on Celanese Road in Rock Hill. She was grossly intoxicated, under the influence of alcohol, blood alcohol rating in excess of 0.20. The breathalyzer read 0.20 2 hours after the incident, and a blood draw 2.5 hours after indicated it was 0.239. She was also, Your Honor, under the influence of marijuana. At that time, her blood analysis by a forensic toxicologist revealed the presence of THC metabolites, indicating that it had been freshly smoked and was still active in her bloodstream.
Let that sit in. I don't know exactly how those tests run. I mean, doesn't THC sit in your system for like 30 days? So what if you ain't smoked in like 2 weeks? You know, I don't know the stipulations with that and how they test the cannabinoids and those terpenes, you know what I mean? But let this be a little rude awakening for anybody who thinks it's just alcohol. If you're under the influence of any kind of mind-altering substance, man, you're going straight to Himtown. If you're behind the wheel, at least.
She drove the car up Celanese Road heading towards I-77, and she rapidly accelerated, reaching speeds of over 100 miles an hour, approximately 107 miles an hour, about 2 seconds before the impact. She apparently started to brake shortly before that, but not in time to stop before she struck the victim, Kristen Knight, in the rear as she was pulling forward through a light. She had been stopped at the light and had managed to get just across the intersection when her vehicle was rear-ended by the defendant. This drove the vehicle forward a great distance and ultimately resulted in the death of Ms. Knight.
Just put yourself in the victim's shoes, all right? You got the green light, you're going across the intersection, you're looking to your left, to the right, to the front. Most people ain't looking behind them. At least I'm not, right? Going across an intersection, maybe some people are, you know, take a brief look in their rear view, but if I were to guess, she probably didn't see this coming. Got hit by a Yukon Denali going over 100 miles an hour. It had to have been like an explosion in that car. I got hit by a car I didn't see coming at like 30 miles an hour. I thought I got hit by a rock slide boulder or something. I didn't know what happened. Terrifying situation, and my condolences go out to that victim's family or anybody who lost a loved one behind a stupid drunk driver. But let's see what she has to say and how apologetic she is.
Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me this opportunity to apologize. First to my community for frightening you. It appalled me when I found out how fast I was driving that vehicle. It was not a choice I would have consciously made. I knew the size of my vehicle. I knew it was heavy. I was careful with it. And I am very sorry to the community for what I did to you that day. To the parents and the children that I have taught over the years, forgive me for letting you down.
Hate to stop those crocodile tears in their tracks, but sounds to me like she used to be a teacher, which to me means you should have definitely known better.
To the parents and the children that I have taught over the years, forgive me for letting you down. Kristen was one of those children.
Oh man. No.
I prayed with her as a little girl.
Oh my.
I will carry that memory with me. To my family, my fiance, and my 2 little girls, thank you so much. for your love and support. Forgive me for bringing this shame upon our family. But most importantly, to Kristen's family who loved and cared for her mother, Donna. There are no words that truly convey the sorrow and the anguish I feel over the pain that I've caused you. I have grieved with you over the loss of your sweet girl. I realize that there is nothing that I can say to make up for the hurt and the grief that I brought your family. All I can say is that I am deeply sorry. Please forgive me for bringing you such pain, sorrow, and grief. Because I know there are no words. I have purposed in my heart to make my life a living sacrifice. I will share this message of brokenness in any and every way that becomes available to me. In the schools, in the churches, in the meetings, to try and prevent anyone else from having to experience this sorrow in their lives.
She forgot prison, because that's definitely where she's probably going for the next few years. She needs to get to preaching in there first. But man, this is a sad situation. It sounds like she might have killed one of her past students. I don't know the case details with this one, but she might be truly apologetic for the situation. Regardless, man, a teacher, whatever, man, she should know better. I know better. I'm an ex-con, man. I'm not driving my damn Suburban over 100 in the damn intersection. What kind of moron does that? Teacher or not, I don't give a damn. You took someone's future away. You deserve to pay.
Ms. Cunningham, and to the victim's family, nothing is more difficult than a DUI involving death. 14 GS 46 1878. Sentence of the court is 23 years, $15,000.
It's crazy to think that 23 years of her life is gone when all she had to do was call an Uber. That probably cost 23 bucks. I said it once and I'll say it again, it never pays to drink and drive. Learn from her mistakes, ladies and gentlemen, and turn away from yours today. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we got Raymond Ortega. He's going to be sentenced today for burglary, assault, and drug possession after months of fleeing police being on the run.
Include case 2011 CR 217. They also include the 2012 CR-9. Each involved the state of Ohio versus Ramon Ortega IV. Mr. Ortega is present. His counsel, Mr. Ramsey, is also in attendance. Mr. Treese is here on behalf of the state of Ohio, and Officer McLean joins us from the Adult Probation Department.
As to the drug case, we're talking about a significant amount of drugs here. Even under F1 standard, that is a large amount of drugs, well above the threshold for a felony of the first degree. So we're talking about a very serious felony of the first degree, even within its own bound. I'd ask the court to first consider the physical harm to the victim here. Ms. Johnson was actually harmed 3 different ways. She was basically stabbed in 3 different places. She attempted to defend herself and was cut in the hand. She again attempted to defend herself and was stabbed in the right arm. There was a puncture wound of her right arm. And the most serious and most actually gruesome injury that she received was a rather large laceration, a slice on her left thigh, a slice that was so large it required 25 stitches when she went to the hospital. So we're talking about a rather significant physical harm upon Ms. Johnson, being stabbed multiple times by Mr. Ortega.
The courts do not like stabbers, I'm here to tell you. Let alone on a female, man. This guy's definitely getting Smokeville 101. But man, look at the trim on that door. I might have to tap back in here after the sentencing. This place is magnificent.
Finally, we're here today not because Mr. Ortega chose to take responsibility and turn himself in. We're here today because the United States Marshals got involved and had to break down or get through doors and go into people's homes to track down Mr. Ortega. He did not turn himself in. It required federal intervention to get Mr. Ortega to appear in court today. So given all of those factors, I would ask that the court impose a 7-year term as to the 2011 case and an 8-year term as to the 2012 case, 7 years being mandatory. And I would ask that the court run these matters consecutive, one after the other, for a total of 15 years.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Mr. Ortega, the law provides you the right to make a statement if you wish. You may proceed.
Yes, I got a few things, Your Honor. I'm not sitting there asking for mercy or leniency. I'm just asking to be treated fair like everyone else. Like my last name was Smith or Woods or something, not Ortega, you know what I'm saying? I just want to be treated fair. Like in half these cases, like weren't handled right, not in like normal people get handled right. I mean, like I did research and there's people that are on felony probation and catch more felonies and get an OR bond or get another bond. No, they're on probation. That should revoke their right to even get a bond. I'm out on bond and get accusations made and they revoke my bond for 5 months. And that wasn't right. But whatever, I did it, that's in the past now and all that. But I'm sorry. I want to tell my family I'm sorry, my brothers, my wife, my aunt, my whole family, I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to do this. Take full responsibility for everything I've done, do my time and move on and come home and start over. That's all. And a couple other things, Your Honor. All the drugs in the house on 700 Davis Street were mine, everything. Brandy Cook then, now Brandy Ortega, they had nothing to do with it. She was out of town a week prior to that. And then the whole month of August through the end of August, I had rented a room at my mother's house on 747 East Sandusky Street. It was the first room to the right when you come in the back, and I had handguns in there in the vent right there, 2 9mm. I take full responsibility for those. I don't know what the charges for that. I was not a convicted felon at the time of that, but my fingerprints are on them, everything. That's mine too, you know. I want to take full responsibility. I don't want my dad to have to come back home and take responsibility for something his son did again. He's already in prison for me now. So I'm taking full responsibility as a man. So then I want that on the record too. I wrote some statements, but I left them at the Justice Center. But I'll send them home or something. So it's on. So I wrote a statement too, you know. But that's it. Thanks.
Homeboy's dad's doing time for him right now. That dude's solid as it comes. And how does he repay him? By going out there slashing up women. I don't care what the situation is, man. You had a free ticket, your pops looked out for you, and you squandered it. Now both y'all gonna be sitting in jail. I don't know how much time he has. Hopefully he gets out soon. But even though he's got some drug charges and some slicings, you know, here and there, the prosecution's only looking at, what, 15? I mean, 15's a hike. Don't get it twisted. But that's why it's called a hike, because you can hike it down. You do what's right, man, you could get out like 13, 12. At his age, he'd still be kind of in his prime. So if you were to ask me if this happened in Virginia, he probably wouldn't see the light of day again. He's blessed to be where he's at right now.
All in all, however, it appears to me to establish that recidivism is likely when we take a look at this case as a whole and all of the opportunities that he had to show this court that he was a changed person. He has not done that. So in my view, based upon the range of 3 to 10 years, I'm going to impose and order the defendant serve a mandatory term of 8 years at the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction as a result. Having said that, the state of Ohio has elected to
8 years
on count 3, the aggravated burglary, which presents a 3 to 11 year possibility. So in this case, I'm likewise going to impose 3 to 11 years an 8-year prison term. The court ordered that the 8-year sentence in case 2011 CR 217 and the 8-year sentence in 2012 CR 9, with those 2 sentences of 8 years each be served consecutively for an aggregate of 16 years return.
16 blickums, bro. Let's go ahead and do a quick little courtroom analysis. This bailiff's dressed to impress, ain't he? He's got a pair of Elvis Presley rings on. But y'all know I had to do a double take on this wood trim. Look at the thighs on this thing. For those that are new to the driftwood game, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is Egyptian sycamore fig. Ancient Egyptians primarily used local woods like sycamore fig from the Nile River banks, though these were often lower quality. For high status items like royal coffins and large boats, they imported, sometimes by the Nile, cedar from Lebanon, which by many standards is considered driftwood or sandstone perch. Amazing, astonishing to see it in a place like this. Also very rare to see in the courtroom, full grain Cordovan rhino skinned leather chairs. Unbelievable. Their quality of the hide and the surface treatment which dictate the look, feel, and durability of the leather. It's almost like you're riding a real rhino. But that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. I love ending it with a good old courtroom analysis. I know one thing though, homeboy's lucky to get 16. If he was in Virginia slicing girls up with a knife, he would have been looking at like 25 minimal to 50. He got blessed, believe it or not, but the first defendant with the DUI that took a woman's life, it still blows my mind. Like I said, all she had to do was probably call an Uber for 23 bucks. But instead, she chose to drive and got 23 years in prison. You know, she probably regrets that decision every day she wakes up. I'm out here though, ladies and gentlemen, like I say all the time, if you enjoyed and you're new, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and stay tuned. Tomorrow I got some shocking recent prison stories coming your way. Unfortunately, it's about inmates losing their life. One in particular literally got smoked out to death. You ain't gonna believe it. But until the next time, as always, y'all be easy, be safe, and more importantly than anything, stay free.